Hi, and welcome back to NRCC Live Business Talk. We are today with the president of the organization, Gerke Witteween, also the CFO of NN. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Now, you are the chief of an organization. Well, chief, is that too much to say? Overseer, a guy that's really...
The president of the board.
Yeah, and a nice face that people might want to refer to as that guy from the NRCC. Well, it grew very fast in the last years. Quite impressive. What do you think is the reason for that?
Well, I think there are a few reasons, obviously, why we grow from 60 members to 200 members in about 3 years. That's not something that happens just because of one single thing. I think we can point out that we got much more active outside Bucharest. So if you look, the Romanian economy is growing fast, not just in Bucharest, but particularly in some other cities as well, when you talk about Cluj, about Constanța. So becoming active there, we also have Dutch companies active there, so they became members. The second thing is, I think, as in any networking organization, if you have good events that attract people and that people enjoy, it attracts other members.
They bring other people in.
They bring other people in, so I think the quality of our events is very, very important. And those are also events for every type of member. So we appeal to big corporations for some of our events, to SMEs. So we have a nice mix of members and a nice mix of activities. And I think the third thing that the executive team with Maurits is doing, and they are the ones who really work day to day, that's not my job, but they renew their activities, so we keep it fresh. There's always something new, like now, NRCC Business Talk on YouTube. And these new things, they keep it fresh and keep the members engaged.
Now, there's this tremendous growth in terms of members. Is there any growth that you can actually feel in the number of companies based in the Netherlands doing business in Romania?
The number of companies from Holland working in Romania, being established in Romania, has grown steadily over the years. And obviously with economic crisis in 2008, some companies leave. Then you see it bouncing back. So it's very much related to the general economic cycle. But we have seen consistently over the 11 years that the NRCC exists, we have seen Dutch businesses being interested in coming to Romania, finding it a country with massive opportunities. So it's kind of a steady stream of companies entering Romania.
Now, compared to other big chambers, I don't know, I'm thinking the Americans, for instance, the NRCC is not that politically active. Why?
Well, I think we have a mission in the NRCC, which is to promote trade between Romania and the Netherlands. But we see this not as a political mission, but as a much more practical economic mission. So what we mean by that is we try to provide to our members all the opportunities for networking, for meeting other companies, to create opportunities to do business. What we do is we provide practical knowledge on how to do business in Romania. This we do through our knowledge center activities, but also, for instance, through the various guides we have, an offshoring guide, an SME guide, a guide for dairy farmers. So we are much more practical, economically oriented, I would say, than politically. Having said that, we are active in Coaliția pentru Dezvoltarea României, which is the main platform for the Romanian Business Association to have constructive discussion with the public sector. So that's where we cooperate, we talk, we provide our input as well.
Now, I know you don't have to be a Dutch company to be a member of the NRCC.
Not at all.
No, you don't have to. I mean, how do you fit in the ecosystem of Dutch companies in Romania? Do you support Romanian companies wanting to do business in the Netherlands, for instance? What do you see yourself in?
Well, we're primarily oriented originally for Dutch companies coming to Romania to do business here. And over the years, we've regularly been approached by companies thinking about doing business in Romania. Can you help us? How is it? Can we get some information? As our membership grew and the network grew, we see a lot of Romanian companies who are either interested in doing business with the Dutch companies already established in Romania, but also sometimes going to Holland. And we are open to anyone. It's kind of like the Dutch culture. We are open to everybody.
You want to be a platform where people can actually learn something about business, connect with people?
Yes. And we believe the Dutch companies in Romania and some of the sectors where the Dutch have great expertise, whether it be logistics and transportation, farming, IT, we can deliver really added value to company members of our association, whatever origin they have.
Is there a connection with the Dutch embassy?
We work together a lot. We are independent institution, an independent membership organization. So we're not officially tied to the embassy, but obviously our interest in promoting trade between Romania and the Netherlands is very much aligned with some of the objectives that the embassy has. So we cooperate in various ways. For instance, we talk to companies who want to come to Romania. You know, they might go to the embassy, to us, to both of us, to discuss how is it to do business in Romania. We help our members, and the embassy helps Dutch companies sometimes with practical issues related to doing business in Romania. And I think thirdly, what we do a lot is also when we go outside Bucharest to the other cities, we often try to do it together. So for instance, in May we went together to Galați to visit the Dutch companies active there in the maritime sector. And that's
Damen.
Obviously Damen, but a lot of companies around it. It's not just Damen there. There's a lot of Dutch companies surrounding Damen who work in the same industry. So we do these visits together, which reinforces for both of us the objective of the visit and makes it much more powerful.
You said that you're counseling Dutch companies to whether to invest or not in Romania. If I'm coming to you and I say, listen, I've got this great Dutch company active in, 30 countries, and I want Romania to be the next, would you say, yeah, you should, or maybe you want to think about it?
No, I think you should.
You should?
You should.
Why?
But you should have a good business ID.
Oh.
I think if you look at the development of the Romanian economy over the last decade or even 20 years, I think nowadays with so many foreign companies and Romanian companies for that matter having developed and grown, the marketplace is much more competitive.
So just, I want to sell light bulbs to these guys, that's not going to cut it?
No.
It has to be more sophisticated.
More sophisticated, and I think you have to establish yourself for the long term. So companies coming in to make a quick buck, if you want, I think that's not working. Maybe that was the idea in the early 90s, just after the revolution. But yeah, sometimes I talk to people who think like it's just a completely underdeveloped market, and it isn't anymore. You really have to know how to do business to be successful in Romania.
What is your role as the president of NRCC?
Well, as the president, obviously I chair the board meetings. I work together with the executive team organizing the activities. They do the hard work, but sometimes I can advise a bit. And then when I started as a president, I really had two goals in mind. So my mission was two main goals. One is to continue the growth of the NRCC in terms of membership, in terms of activities. And the second one is for our members to maximize this networking effect. And that goes in, I would say, 3 layers. So first within the membership. So how do we think of new ways to engage with our members? How do we keep it fresh? By NRCC TV, by doing more new events in different places. The second part of that is creating more content for our members. So we want to, my mission was to get more content into the NRCC. So since I started, we've published this SME guide, we published the Dairy Farmers Guide, and I think we should and could do more in this respect together with our members. The second part, I think, is if you look at our chamber, the Dutch chamber, we do a lot together with other chambers, bilateral chambers. So organizing events together, our members meeting their members, again, it helps to create a more stronger network of people to work together. And the third thing, I think, is very much about how we work together with the Dutch embassy. So my mission was to really deepen the relationship with the embassy, work together on the things where we have joint goals, which is a lot about promoting trade. And I think these are all kinds of ways for our members to have the maximum benefit of being a member of the NRCC.
Do you think trade would have been better with the Schengen Accord, Romania joining Schengen area?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't. These are to some degree hypotheticals. You never know what the result will be until you try it, and once you try it, you can't go back. So you never know what it would be without. I do think, in general, of course, Romania being part of the EU, having the free people and movement of people and goods is very good. And in time that should be used more and more effectively by everyone, because I think it's really a great way for Romania to grow economically. And whether Schengen plays a large part in that or no, I'm not in a position to say that very clearly.
I think it's more for Romanians. It's more like a psychological thing. It's not that we can't travel free, but it's just like the gold card of a very nice membership at, I don't know, Stajari Club. You want to have that, even if you're not going to Stajari Club this year because you're too tired to go to the gym. But that is a nice card to have. That's why they want it.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I mean, you want to be part of the family and you want to be a full part of the family, and that makes sense. Yeah. Whether or not it has real economic benefit, tangible, I mean, opinions differ when I read about it, and to be honest, I haven't studied it myself carefully, so it's very hard for me to have a firm judgment on that.
What do the board members do?
Well, they also obviously represent the NRCC, they join events. Well, we all have our own network, so again, as a networking organization, you try as board members to make the network bigger, grow it, bring people in touch with each other. So that's really the role of a board member, to represent the NRCC and to grow the network that we have.
You said that you are going to those events, and what was the most interesting thing and the most surprising thing that somebody said to you in one of those events, NRCC events?
Ooh, that's a question I have to think about for a moment, because
think Galați, think Cluj, think, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I meet a lot of members at different events,
yeah.
And you have these events like Orange Night, which is the big event, and it's a party, it's good food, it's lots of networking, and then the next month you go to a knowledge center with like a small room with 30 people where you have in-depth discussion about new GDPR legislation or HR strategies or these topics. So these events are all very different, and it's very hard to pick one, but I would say what I memorize, actually, the fun part is when you meet these different people, different members.
Night at the SMEs, when you change the tables?
Night of the SMEs, which is an event which is so high energy and so much exchange of ideas that's really a fun one to be part of. But different events attract different type of members, and if I take the common thread of the feedback they get, it's about the quality of the events we organize. They really say, okay, when we come to an NRCC event, it's arranged from beginning to end. You really provide the network opportunities. You do your best as an organization, all of us, to bring us into touch with the right people. So I think that's really the common factor that I hear every time we have events.
This is what I liked about the events in Cluj, for instance, that you have brought together a community of people that I did not know existed in Cluj. How do you find those guys?
Well, I mean, it starts somewhere. So we have some, there are Dutch companies in Cluj. We have a couple of board members who are based in Cluj. So through that network, also here the embassy,
it's
actually.
Who you know and who he knows and who.
The honorary consul for the embassy, Mr. Wouter Rijs, is very active in Cluj. So that is a start of a community. And then you start organizing events. And again, it's this networking event of people seeing it's a good event with interesting people. So they bring someone along the next time. And this is how it grows and builds.
What is the most fun?
The most fun?
Yeah. The best party, after party of
I would say Orange Night is hard to top
Night.
Because it's really big. But at the same time, personally, for me, fun means a lot of times when I go out of Bucharest. So the visits to Cluj or Galați, because you meet different people and you visit
running away from home.
Yeah, but you visit the companies where they're actually, because in Bucharest we're often in these hotels or rooms, and then you go to Galați and you're invited into the company. When we were at Damen, we get the whole tour of the shipyard, and you talk in a different way.
You need to do Mangalia too right now, because they bought Mangalia.
Yes, we haven't been there yet, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Now, what do you think of the level of the events of the NRCC when it comes to, quality of people, officials, and the level of talks, which is also important?
Yeah, as I already mentioned, I think my judgment is less important than the judgment of our members. And our members are very clear. They love the context, they love the talks. They believe they're the right people to do business with, to share ideas with, to gain knowledge. So for me, the quality of the events is measured by the satisfaction of our members, and we get very good returns on when we ask them how they think of the events.
If you were to, I'm not saying you should, but if you were to leave NN, go to a different business, not a Dutch one, would you make that business join the NRCC?
I would.
Why?
Yeah. Again, you meet interesting people. It gives you opportunities. If you look at it's not to compare ourselves with other chambers, but if you look at the level of activity, the amount of activities, the opportunities we create for businesses, it's really on a very, very high level compared to some of the other business associations. And it's not just Dutch, so it's not this little clique of Dutch people who comes together once a month to have a beer and talk.
Sometimes you have trouble finding the Dutch in the room of an NRCC event.
Do you see that as a problem?
Yeah.
I don't.
It's like Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't. It's not a problem to me.
It's not.
Like if people are there, they're enjoying themselves, they have the right context. We do the Dutch thing in promoting the sectors, in promoting the transportation, the logistics, the farming, the ICT. We do have the Dairy Farmers Guide. How Dutch can it get, I would almost say. So there is always this Dutch thing about us. If only because Maurits always makes sure that our bitterballen to snack. But, at the same time, we're this open community for everyone to join.
Thank you, sir. And I'll see you next NRCC event.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was Gerke. Am I pronouncing well?
Close enough.
Gerke Witteween, the president of NRCC. I'll see you at the next NRCC Live Business Talk.